Welcome back to another episode of Exiled Strangers. Today we're going to be talking about how we both kind of got into Torah and how we, found the way and how we started walking this way and everything. But before that, remember, shoot us an email at exiledstrangers@proton.me. That's exiledstrangers@proton.me if you want to come up and give your anonymous testimony. Don't be shy. Don't be scared. Come on and give your testimony. How you doing, nobody?
I'm doing pretty good. Welcome to the show, everybody. This is the show. This is our podcast. Welcome to the podcast. Praise God.
What's Shalomi, homie? I saw that earlier today. I wanted to say that. Oh
I
man,
dig it. Yeah, I've heard that before, and
yeah.
that is fun, dude.
Have you? You have heard? That was the first time I had seen that. Was I saw it in like a YouTube comment actually. It
Really?
said Shalomi, homie. Yeah, I laughed out loud when I saw that.
I love it. It's fun, man. Like Yahweh has a sense of humor,
Oh, for sure.
and you're
For
just saying
sure.
peace, friends.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Oh
Uh,
man. Just to reiterate, we are not Jewish because most of the time people hear shalom and they think like, "Oh, you're Jewish." No,
nope.
that's not the case. It just means peace in Hebrew.
Yep. Yep. I think that's one of the craziest things. And I think I used to believe this as well because I was taught this growing up is that anything to do with historical people in the way, followers of Yahweh or just God as I knew it back then, um, was like Jews. Everybody was a Jew like everybody in the Bible was a Jew
Yeah,
until the Messiah came. And then, you know, yeah, everybody's a Gentile believer after that. And it's like, whoa, if you define your terms there, like you're saying you're out of covenant, when you say you're a
yeah,
Gentile believer.
yeah. But even saying like Jew is inaccurate.
Yeah.
Um, you're Yasharel.
And I think people get confused too, though, like, because like Paul, right? Like he's like a Jew, right? Because he was from Judea.
Mm-hmm.
Also was steeped in Judaism, but he was from the tribe of Benjamin, you know?
Yeah,
And that's the thing, like, yeah, those in Judea, it's fair to call them Jews. That was the term of phrase for the people that lived in that space of land. So you primarily have Judah, Levi, and large portion of Benjamin, um, in that southern kingdom. But it's crazy because it also carries on that other definition now of someone who is in Judaism, which is a completely separate religion with its own
right.
separate laws and beliefs, and it's
And
wild, dude.
multiple gods. It's a polytheistic religion.
Oh
Believe it or
yeah,
not.
yeah. I mean, and that's what's crazy, right? Like you look at it, it's like they dog us for saying that our heavenly Father Yahweh, who they cannot say his name, right? Jeremiah
Mm-hmm.
44. Yah took his name out of their mouth for spiritual adultery. Um, but they get on us for saying that we believe in the Son, and to a degree, they're right with some religions. Like calling the Son the Most High and all this blasphemous stuff. But it's very simple. Like at some point, the Father brought him forth and then sent him. He's the greatest of the prophets. He's a messenger. He's like all these different things. They would have to deny the existence of angels as well, to say that there's no other Elohim,
Get him,
Um,
nobody.
I don't know, dude. I'm just, hey,
Get
it's
him.
just when you don't define the words, it gets really confusing, you know?
Yeah, no, it really does. Like the definition of terms and words seriously dispels a lot of confusion, and makes things like a lot clearer and everything, which is right on topic for today's discussion of
Yeah.
how did we find the way, or how did the way find us, or um, like how did we become, how do we get into following Torah? Uh, for me, it was super, super gentle. I guess I'll just go ahead and get started here. Like the very first interaction that I've ever had with anybody following Torah, I knew him for years before I finally put two and two together that he was following Torah. He was just an awesome man. He was like
Yeah.
the perfect portrayal of like a man following Yah. And to this day still is. Like, and he's, yeah. And I, to this day, I don't think he has ever told me that he follows Torah. It's just me putting the pieces together and realizing, like, oh, that's why he does some of the things he does, and that's why he doesn't do some of the things he does, is because he is following Torah. Um, and then my second interaction, which was my first known interaction, was wild. Sorry for that car that just drove by. There was a truck pulling a trailer, and people can't drive around here very well. Um, but yeah, my second interaction was my first known interaction, and it was all of the information all at once from every direction, and with no time to keep up at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it was just like it was like, oh, okay, honestly, it was like some of the interactions that you and I had both witnessed um, up in North
Yeah.
Carolina.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
uh like the one particular one that I'm thinking of that you know of as well, it was kind of like that without as much intensity, but like four times as long.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was just like a machine gun of like scripture, and it wasn't giving me like, I wasn't given context, I wasn't given like a explanation. It was just like a bunch of stuff all at once, from every direction. And that honestly sparked me to ask some of the elders in my life at the time what they thought of like following Torah. And I was given a bunch of lazy answers. And thankfully, I was given a bunch of lazy answers because I immediately recognized them as lazy answers and tried to disprove it myself. I tried to disprove following Torah myself. And
Sure.
so did my wife. We spent a long time trying to disprove it. And every time we thought we had disproved it, we'd keep reading and then realizing like, oh, wait, that wasn't proof. Um, yeah. So that was the beginning stages for me. And then like Yah was very, very gentle with this transition. He just kept sending me people. And then also like your testimony and stuff like that um has really made me realize like how gentle and how easy I've definitely had it, and how I feel like I've been given like just like an accelerated path almost. Like a lot of the hardships that y'all have had to deal with before, I haven't had to deal with for the most part. Um
Well, maybe they're
like
just different, you know?
I guess maybe, or I'm just too dumb to notice. Maybe that's it too. But like
Or maybe, hey, maybe I was a bigger turd than you were, you know?
I don't know about that. I don't know. But yeah, he just like, yeah, just kept sending me people that were putting people in my path that were very, very good um role models, and like trying to think of a synonym for teacher. Guy, they were providing guidance and stuff.
That's
Um
fair. Yeah.
like another person that they, yeah, put it my way. I actually was doing some work for him, and after the work was done, at the end of the day, they started talking to me, and they pointed out a couple of scriptures that really. And at this point, I'm already kind of understanding, like, okay, there's something to this. I don't know what it is just yet. I don't know where, like, the balance is, because I was already at this point frustrated with the mainstream church.
Yeah.
Like, there were actions of injustice that needed to be handled, that all of the uh limp-wristed cuck men of that church were unwilling to do anything about. And I know that's strong words, but that's how egregious it really was. um that like none of them were like willing to do anything about. And my gut feeling was like, I think we're given permission to just go ahead and handle some of these situations, and then even more than permission, like the duty to handle some of these situations.
Yeah.
So I felt like there was a balance somewhere between my first known interaction, what was told to me there, and then the complete opposite end of the spectrum of mainstream church. Um, so this guy pointed out two different scriptures to me that really really stuck out. Um, One of them was Proverbs 28:9, saying, "He that turneth away his ear from hearing the law, even his prayer shall be an abomination." That really stuck out, and that almost connected some dots for me.
Yeah.
And then, not saying that like God doesn't answer the prayers or respond to the prayers of people that aren't following the law, because He's definitely shown grace to me in certain aspects, and is definitely, before I was following the law, was definitely answering certain prayers and giving confirmation and stuff like that in certain situations, and
Sure.
has definitely protected me throughout my life. Um, but that one really stuck out, and that almost immediately made sense. And then another one that was given to me later was Matthew 5:17.
Mm.
In fact, let me go ahead and pull that up in the
You want me
in.
to? You want me to share it?
Oh, sure, yeah, if you don't mind, because it's more than just one verse in there.
Right. Right.
And I've talked about it here before on the podcast. This is like a big one. This is what I weigh everything else. If there's any kind of scripture that doesn't make sense, or it's meaning like it might be pushing towards being lawless, I always weigh it up against this, because whatever they have to say, they have to, like, it's in comparison to what the Messiah said. And Matthew 5:17 starts off saying, "Do not understand that." Oh, 15. My bad, dude. I put in 15:17. My bad. Matthew 5:17. Do not think that I came to destroy the Torah or the prophets. I did not come to destroy, but to complete. For truly, I say to you, till the heaven and earth pass away, one yod or one tittle shall by no means pass from the Torah till all be done. Whoever then breaks one of the least of these commands and teaches men so shall be called least in the reign of the heavens, but whoever does and teaches them shall be called great in the reign of the heavens. For I say to you that unless your righteousness exceeds that of the scribes and Pharisees, you shall by no means enter into the reign of the heavens. That's a big one. That came from Yahusha. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned, everybody else in the New Testament comes second to Yahusha.
Amen. See, and
And
that's the right lenses that it just, I don't know, it blows my mind. Even when I was lost in the church and I would ask this, everybody would still refer to Paul. I'm like, well, what about our
yeah,
Messiah? Like, sorry, that's it. I just
no,
wanted to chime
no,
in on
you're
that.
right. You're 100% right. And then the books I was trying to use to disprove having to follow the law were all Paul's books, which the more you read and the more you understand about Paul, the more you realize like he's checking a lot of the time a heart posture in this. And then also,
Yeah,
like you've said before in previous episodes, we don't know what letters, like he's responding to other letters. We don't know the context of these letters. I mean, meaning like we don't know what was written to him. Like
right.
we can kind of get an idea based on what he's responding to, but we don't know exact situations and exact scenarios or exact words that were used when he was being written to.
Yeah.
But again, Paul ain't coming close to the Messiah, and the Messiah said this. So
Yes. And here's the thing. He says, where are we at here? In verse 18, for truly I say to you, till heaven and earth pass away, one yod or one tittle shall by no means pass from the Torah till all be done. Heaven and earth won't pass away. Jeremiah 31 tells us so. That if the Jeremiah 31 straight up says, and I'm paraphrasing, but it says like, if these ordinances ever cease from being, then Yasharel, Yahweh's chosen people, will cease from being a nation forever. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like it's not passing away.
yeah,
And then
right,
I don't know of any, prophecy that says this, like the end, that puts a stamp on
right,
life. Because when I look forward, I know that there's like eternal life, and
yeah,
eternal is usually defined as like everlasting, like it doesn't stop. So
right.
Anyways,
it would be inaccurate word to use if it all came to an end.
yeah. So like the
And
Messiah
then
is literally saying here, like, he's like, he's like, let me drive this home. This is never
yeah,
going away.
forever Sandlot moment.
Oh my gosh,
Forever.
you've seen The Sandlot?
I've seen the Sandlot.
Whoa, yes. All right.
Oh man. And then
Uh,
okay, so after meeting that guy, meeting him over a course of time and stuff like that, like still trying to, I wouldn't say in limbo, but just trying to figure out like what it is exactly we're supposed to be doing. Fast forward a little bit, and then I meet nobody over here in in a disaster zone basically, and we're stuck in a truck together for like a week, and he just spent that whole time just breaking things down for me. And I feel like that week I learned more, probably I probably learned more in that whole week spending time in a truck with nobody than I did the entire year learn like leading up to that. And yeah, I mean, honestly, the biggest teachers in my life have been, as far, you know what I mean by teachers, um not calling y'all rabbis or anything like that, but like the biggest what is the word? Help me out here.
well,
Come on,
I
man.
mean,
You know what word I'm trying to think of?
this is a,
Facilitators.
sure, yeah, this is a tough
Okay.
one, you know. It is because he
The
says,
the
"Call no
biggest
man teacher."
facilitators.
Yeah.
Yeah. The biggest facilitators have been you and the previous guy that I was talking about by far. And
Well,
y'all have like accelerated my understanding and learning so much. Yeah. And like massive help. And then like fast forward what, 5 months or something? I can't believe we've only known each other for like 6 months. That's insane.
bro, I feel
Um
like we grew up together.
yeah. Yeah, facts. Yeah. Yeah. But then like okay, so fast forward this a couple weeks ago was my first Passover. That was the first Pesach I've ever celebrated. Um and it was awesome.
Whoop whoop.
Yep. What about you,
Mm.
nobody? How'd you
Hold
get
on.
into this?
Hold on a
Oh, my bad.
second. Let me
Oh,
let
my
me get
bad.
this going for the
Okay.
Passover.
Yeah.
Is he gonna do it? Oh, it's not
You
even.
got to hit the live button.
I did.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Passover.
Oh. Oh man. Yeah, we found some sound effects on this recording platform
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
using.
You all get ready. Get ready, because these buttons are gonna get smashed. Um, no, dude. Like, well, praise ya. Okay, because
Praise ya.
that first week we spent in the disaster zone, like in between driving from location to location, I mean, we had a lot of time to sit there and talk and shoot, man, I learned a ton during that trip. Like, yeah, it was growing us and creating this friendship. It's been a blessing to me. You know, this is like,
Both
I
of
don't know.
us.
It's awesome what our Father does, you know.
Yeah. And then but like I also feel some sort of guilt about it too, because I know like how much you've had to struggle, how much other people have had to struggle and like finding this path. And like dude, mine has been like I can think of like maybe one difficult thing I've had to do. Like
Well,
okay, so had I not moved to where I am right now, and you know the whole scenario behind that. Had I not moved to
yeah.
where I am right now, I would have never found this. Um which honestly I think is part of the reason I'm in the location I am right now. Uh, yeah, but so that was like really the only difficult thing I had to do in order to walk in this path.
Yeah,
But other than that, pretty easy.
but look, okay, so you got to look at a lot of different factors though. And I could tell you just from being your bud is that you are a very resilient person, and like you're a problem solver. So something that it may not seem like a mountain to climb over, but you've had struggles. I've heard them, you know. You just handle
Yeah,
them and praise yeah. But most definitely, I agree with you. You know, the past experiences that led you to where you are. It was like it was all like culminating. Is that the right word? Culminating,
Yeah.
uh, to the moment where Yah's like, "You're mine, Mister." You know,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah. No kidding. Yeah,
but
that's for sure. Um, and that, I mean, now I'm still have a lot to learn. Still feel like I'm like struggling to keep up, basically. Like I'm
join join the
being
club.
dragged along. Yeah, I feel like I'm being
join,
dragged along on this ruck march.
join the club, man. That's like there is an infinite amount of wisdom and knowledge and understanding to be had. Like even Enoch says that, like after, um, you know, those who are found worthy are like glorified, given their glorified bodies, all right, their eternal bodies, they will be charged with searching out the extents of righteousness. Like their learning doesn't stop. You know,
That
if
is
we're
insane.
yeah, it's you can't even comprehend it really. You know what I mean?
Like the
Um,
extent of righteousness, like that makes me think like there is no like wall you're gonna hit.
yeah, yeah, pretty much like like Yahweh and his awesome son Yahusha are just going to be teaching us, and we're going to be walking in his ways, his instructions, helping the
Like,
nations out during the millennial reign. Yeah.
dude, my struggle, my day-to-day struggle right now is just making sure, trying my best to not sin. Like,
So,
glorified
once,
body, we're not sinning. How on the like it gets better than that? That's
dude,
wild.
yeah, that struggle is very real. I'm in that same boat, you know? It's like,
Yeah, we
but
all are.
and that's the awesome part about it. Like, that's why he tells us to meditate on his Torah day and night. You know, when you rise up and you walk by the way, every situation, he covers the whole day because he wants you always to be on guard against sin. Like, what does he tell Cain? You know, and I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, "Hey, sin's crouching at your door. Like,
Yeah,
you better watch your step." You know, and I think that's the same warning that applies to all of us. Like, it is literally at the door, and we have to carefully maneuver this life. Um,
yeah,
but yeah,
man.
it's going to be great. I can't wait because imagine this, like searching out the extensive righteousness in the kingdom, like when sin is flushed out of your body, you can't sin ever again. And then you're just caused to learn more and more and more how to walk in it even better. And it just never will end. Like you're, you know what I mean? You're always going to be instructed and it's going to be peaceful and wonderful. Oh, I
Like that's
can't wait.
literally something I can't even comprehend right now.
Yeah, me neither. Because I'll tell you what, this world has turned into just a literally it's Sodom and Gomorrah everywhere you look. You know, and
Everywhere.
like, anyways, yeah, I can rant about that forever, but we don't have a ranting button. Maybe we'll download one. I don't even know what that would sound like, but maybe
The ranting button,
some
the ranting
ominous
button are the
music.
buttons we push.
Yeah.
Those are the ranting
uh,
buttons.
that's good.
Oh man. So there is one knife channel that I watch. It's called Knife Center, and every time the host gets into the weeds of like knife making and manufacturing and like just knife nerd stuff, the producer will bring up this weeds image that just like grow up as he's getting into it. he does it after the
uh,
fact, but it's like it just weeds start growing up around him. And yeah, DCA is the host, and it just has these pile of weeds growing up around him because he's getting into the
Oh,
weeds.
that is so funny. Please send me those. I don't know. I
Okay.
haven't seen that. Oh
Have you
man.
seen that channel,
Yeah, but
Knife Center?
I haven't seen that. I don't know. I don't watch it that much, so.
Yeah, I
Which
used
is
to watch it a lot
weird.
more.
Wait, that's weird cuz our algorithms are lined up pretty spot on.
So I used to watch it, but not really much anymore because, like, I guess what that channel really does more of is like give you an update of new knives that they have on their website. And then kind of like
Yeah.
some interesting information, but it'll be like their most popular videos are like knives of the week, which are like their new updated versions of the week, and then they do also do knife AQ, which is like Q&A for knives and stuff, where they go through and answer some of the knives, but they're still trying to sell some of the knives that they have on their website.
Yeah,
Nothing wrong with that. It's just not quite the knife content that I consume.
for sure. Well,
Yeah.
I want to see the weed thing, and we got to maybe get that effect for our podcast because we get in them, buddy. You know.
Yep.
Oh
Yeah.
man. Well,
Yeah.
all right. So yeah, you want me to kind of
Get them.
describe my entrance into it?
Yep. Yeah.
I would say years past, right? I always had questions since I was a kid. I had questions. I was like, wait a second. You say that we follow the 10 commandments. Why aren't we doing the Sabbath? It's the fourth commandment. And
Yeah.
it's even, and he even puts a stamp on it by saying, and keep it set apart. Like, don't just keep it, but keep it and set it apart, keep it
And
holy.
remember it.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, yeah, well, that got changed to Sunday. And it's like, but the creator of the heavens and the earth and everything that lives in them and everything with breath said this day.
Yeah.
Like, who are we to change it? But as like a youth or whatever, like I just went along with what I was being told by people that I assumed to be smarter than I, right?
Right.
But it made me start to rebel, honestly. And like it made my heart drop out here. I was like hot and cold, back and forth. Um, but like you said, like even without being obedient to Yah's ways, I was preserved, for the moment in the future when he was going to call me, like even, certain, being in other countries and dangerous places and stuff like, I can recognize times, especially in hindsight, where like I should not have been safe. I should not have made it out of there unscathed, but he did that. I think all
Yeah.
for what he knew would happen in my life, later down the road. Um,
For
but
sure.
but really, I just started asking questions more and more, and then as I got older and like more aware of the world after my travels and different countries, experiencing war, like just like people, I felt like I had a foot to stand on and actually have a discussion, and yet I was getting the same like crappy answers. And like I was even doing a one-on-one discipleship program with my pastor. I'm talking head pastor, me and him, one-on-one, a couple hours a week in his office. And, I'm like, okay, like I did this, but now I have these questions here, after I do the
Yeah.
little pamphlet where I got to answer 3 questions. Like I had to write 3 sentences over the whole week.
That's
I'm like,
wild.
yeah, I'm like, okay. And then I had a list of my own questions that I was going to ask him. But none of those got answered. And he was kind about it, but he had the very generic answers that he had to give based on the denomination he was accredited through, you know?
What denomination was that? Or
This,
can you not
well,
say?
no, this was like a non denominational church, which still is a denomination in itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. It's just confusing, but I've tried all of them, right? I tried Baptist churches, Pentecostal, and I was like, man, nothing fits. And I would read the words of our Messiah, and I'd be like, man, he's saying a lot of stuff that I'm not doing. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I'm told that I'm doing great, but by people, but the Messiah, our high priest and king, is saying that I'm lacking. Um,
Right.
So, anyways, I was asking these questions. I'm trying to get closer. I was in a very rough marriage, and it was definitely debilitating in many ways. So I was, yeah, I wasn't able to progress past that certain point, you know. Um, but in the midst of a pretty nasty divorce and all that, like I remember specifically one night, just crying out. And I was like, okay, I've tried it my way over and over again, and I keep failing. I'm like, I keep messing it up. And I was even asking at this point, like, I was like, I know you're real, but I have doubt. Like, I know that you've been there to help me, but I also doubt it. Like
Right.
something's wrong. I was like, can you please, like, just in mercy, please help me out? Like I wasn't challenging the Father, but I was just asking him from my own lacking. I was like, please, like, reveal yourself to me and show me what to do, because I suck at this thing called life. Um, which is true. Like I did not do good at it. Um, but I know why, because like I think I was being chastised for all the stuff I was doing and not realizing that, yeah, I was trying to correct me the whole time in mercy. He didn't destroy me, but he was trying to correct me. I think all the while knowing he was going to end up having that moment where we would interact in the future. Um,
I think that's a good point, though. It's like we all suck at being humans without a freaking like instruction manual.
yeah.
Like, like we all suck at this without the instruction manual, and even with the instruction manual, we still ain't that good at this.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, we're getting better. We're
Yeah,
getting better. Our hearts are
yeah.
being softened. And, it's one of those things, though. It's like the person I used to be in the past compared to who I am now is night and day. Even like my whole family out here and everybody who won't talk scripture with me implies that I'm unsaved and all these other things because I keep the commandments, or I do my best to walk in them. Um, Even they'll say there's a stark difference between the old me and the person I am now, but they won't acknowledge that it's because of the Father's instructions. It's not
Wow.
even me. Like, I still suck. But it's just it's his
I think you're
behavior.
cool.
Thanks, man, but it's
Yeah.
the only reason I'm cool is because of the Father's, like, instructions. like like without those, like, I just a dude who's just trying to survive. But now it's like I don't need to just survive. It's like, really, it's the keys to immortality. It's how I know that I know the Father and the Son, and it's how I know that they know me. So when it comes time for that resurrection, I pray that I'm worthy to be part of it. you know
So, how many years did this whole transformation take place? Like, from recognizing that something was missing to the point you are right now.
I mean, I had these questions when I was a child. Like, I would say, like, probably when I was, well, yeah, even when I was like a young child. I remember reading the Bible, my little kid's Bible. I was always in Genesis and Revelation. Those are my two favorite books.
Yeah.
And I would see it through these lenses of a child. And then going through church and everything, I was getting told something totally different. And then now, full circle to where I'm at now, I see it very similar to the way I did when I was a child, which
Yeah.
really makes you wonder, like, when the Messiah says you have to receive the kingdom like a young child.
Yeah.
Um, but dude, it's hard to say because it's been like a drawn out process, and
Really.
every moment of lacking that's kicked the can down the road is me. It's like I was hot and wanted to learn, wanted to conform to what Scripture says is righteousness, but at the same time, I wasn't ready to give up, you know, my lifestyle, all that. So there's like moments where I would get close and then I'll just back way off. So if I really had to sum it up, it would just be a long process over, a decade plus of that, and then I don't know, really, like, I don't know, just making that decision to really turn and follow his ways, probably like around, what, 5 years now, something like that. No,
Yeah.
somewhere around there. But
Yeah.
that's progressed too. So the beginning of that time is not where I'm at now. Like I was learning. Oh, I got to get rid of this in my life. You know what I mean? And it was like getting like the leaven shaved off of yeah, my life, my soul, my heart.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Um, man. Yeah, thankfully I did not grow up in like going to church and whatnot. Like my parents, grew up as like Christians, but um yeah, growing up my parents were Christians, but they weren't like we weren't going to church at all. Like anytime I went to church when I was a kid was of my own like doing, or I went with like a friend
Yeah,
over to church. I can think of like handful of times where I've gone to church with my parents, and like I'm thankful for that because there's a lot of stuff I did not have to unlearn. Like my wife, for example, there's a lot of stuff that she like because she grew up going to church. Like it was a big part of her childhood was going into church. Um, been to multiple different churches, multiple different denominations and stuff. And but like for me, there isn't a whole lot that I have to unlearn and then learn new. Like it's all pretty much new to me for the
yeah,
most part. Like a lot of the stories that people grew up with from the Bible, like incorrectly learning these stories and stuff, I may have heard like a whisper of that story, but I didn't learn it incorrectly because I never learned it.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, okay, largely, like, okay, one of the big ones was okay, everybody knows about Noah's Ark, right? But
Yeah.
I don't think I had ever read that part for myself in the Bible. And then, like, when I first read it, I was like, oh, snap. He brought 7 pairs of the clean animals. That seems like an
Yeah.
important note.
That's pretty important there.
That's pretty important and also implies that the law was known before Moses. Um
Right.
and like and this I think this is part of the reason I still feel like I'm really still trying to catch up is because there's a lot of the stuff that like my wife is conversational about that I'm
Hmm.
like, this is the first time I heard this type thing, or like I'm not as adept with this as she might be in certain
Hmm.
aspects and stuff. But also, it's maybe easier for me to understand or accept um, the correct teachings because I don't have that prior bias. It's like okay, women learning how to shoot in the military, they
Right.
pick it up and they learn it better
So
because
much
they have
easier.
no preconceived notions on how it's done properly.
Wait, hold on.
Like,
Let me okay. Since you brought that up, sorry.
yeah, no, you're good.
So I've instructed a ton of people on how to shoot, right? Like in the army, on these firing ranges, these qualification ranges, right?
Yeah.
Women, they're like, "Oh, you do this exactly what you said and I'll qualify." And it's like, "Yeah, that's it." Okay, and they go up, bam, done. The dudes always are like, "Give me that gun. I know how to do this." Like
Yeah.
then they get up there and they're just like, Wyatt Earp all over the place, It's like, all right, remedial training for you, pal. Come on, let's do some PMI and let's get back out there. Uh, so true. The only problem some women had is just like their overall body mass. They couldn't shoot some weapons as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Just because some of these things are freaking heavy and have a
Hand
big kick.
cannons.
Yeah, but
Yeah, what was that one you were telling me you're only supposed to fire like once or twice in a 24-hour period and you'd shot it like a
oh,
lot.
bro, the Carl Gustav, man. Yeah, for one, it's named. When I hear that name, I picture like a Charlie Chaplin mustache with like glasses, like this very respectable. Not Charlie Chaplin mustache. That's like
You mean the
similar to.
Hitler mustache?
No, no. Hey,
That's what that is, isn't
no. I
it?
went more like the flipped out saloon style. I picture
Like
someone
a
like that.
handlebar,
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
manicured.
But
Yeah.
yeah. But in reality, Carl Gustav was just one tough sob. Like this thing's an 84 millimeter recoilless rifle. But yeah, we shot a lot, and dude, my bell was ringing for a long time. But
Man.
Anyways, sorry. The big, we should have had the weeds graphic to grow up on that one. My bad.
No, you're good, dude. I asked. I was like, man. Oh yeah. How many times were you supposed to shoot it in a day, and then how many times did you shoot it in a day?
I think just like because it was in Afghanistan, we went to another fob Gamberry. They had like a range set up there. I want to say that you're not supposed to shoot it more than 2 or 3 times a day, and I think we each shot like 5, 6, 7, and by each, it's like it's a 2-man gunner team. So there's 2 dudes right there in the blast radius. So each of us shot that much. So we were eating all of it, the whole time.
You're in the teens of concussions.
Yeah, it was fun though, dude. There's like these old tanks and cars out there, and yeah,
Man.
you got like flèche rounds. You got, anyways, it was tight, but
Man. Oh man. That is wild. But yeah, like women in the military, I didn't have to. What are you falling over for?
Oh, dude, I was just remembering that range. We had an instructor that he was an ex-ranger who came back as a civilian. He got like shot in the arm, and he couldn't extend his arm all the way. Like he had a lot of damage in there.
Yeah.
And I'm just setting the tone because he was the guy that was like, well, we got all these rounds, so we might as well just shoot all of them. It's like, he was a cool guy.
And especially if he's coming back as a civilian. It's like, who's going to get him in trouble?
Yeah, they were awesome.
Man,
sorry.
That's funny.
All right, so
you're good.
Going back to you, comparing you to female shooters in the military.
I didn't have to unlearn anything because I just didn't flat out know it. Like it was much easier for me to accept this path and everything because I didn't have any prior biases or anything like that. And like I know this sounds like I might be bashing my parents for not bringing me to church. No, I'm actually thankful for it. Like,
yeah,
I'm thankful they didn't that they allowed me the space to search this out myself instead of filling my head with a bunch of incorrect teachings from the get-go.
Yeah, but I will add this, like knowing your parents, that they did instill good morals, like
Right, yeah.
that, and it could go one of two ways with, I think, people that are left to their own searching or devices, like someone who didn't have that kind of moral foundation, which aligns with Yah's Torah, would potentially go in a bad path. So praise Yah that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I should also clarify that, like, my parents taught me right from wrong.
Totally.
Like, they definitely both read the Bible and were both like, I think they just had their own frustrations with the church. Honestly, I think that was really it. I think they just had their own frustrations with the church, and that was the reason we weren't going to the church. But yeah, I knew who, back then, who God was, or I thought I knew. And I knew, the classic saying, like, Jesus is my Lord and Savior type thing. Like, sure. I never dove into other religions or anything like that. Like, if you were to ask me back in the day, I would say, yeah, I'm a Christian. But with really no kind of like backing to that. Like, if you asked me to prove it or like say why, couldn't really give you much of an answer. That was like at least intelligent.
Sure.
But yeah. I never dove into any other religions or any intentional witchcraft or anything like that. Did my fair share of droogs. Mostly the like hallucinogenic ones. But honestly, okay, so honestly
oh, that was great.
So, okay, honestly, the reason I went that route, the reason I started doing hallucinogens and stuff like that, like whether it be shrooms or acid or just like smoking copious amounts of weed, was because I kept hearing people say, like, when I would go to church or like other Christians, I kept hearing people say like they would hear like, or that God spoke to them and stuff. And I'm like, I have never once heard his voice, and I would get like frustrated with it, and like I would just get mad over it, really. And then I was like, okay, if he doesn't want to speak to me, I'm gonna put myself in a position where other people have like heard something. Like I wanted more. I just wanted confirmation that there was another side
Right.
of things. DMT, that was another one. Um, like all of these, I will say they all confirmed that there's definitely another side of things. But looking back at it, I was not interacting with the good side of things.
Sure.
Um, and then even like lucid dreaming, I was doing lucid dreaming with the intent of just wrestling, like getting wrestling sessions in during my sleep, and jujitsu sessions in during my sleep. And then there was one time I like accidentally astral projected, um, and then while I was in that kind of state, I noticed something else was present, and I like freaked out. And like I'm laying in bed, I'm looking down at myself, and I'm like, this is wild. And then I didn't see anything, but I knew something else was there,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like I felt like that being chased feeling, and I just like kind of without moving pulled myself back into my body. It's kind of hard to explain, but like I didn't like run towards my body. I didn't like grab myself and pull myself into myself. It was just like willed myself back into my body type thing. And then after that, I was like, all right, I gotta quit with this nonsense. This is a little sketchy.
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, and like I can honestly say, like most of the time, like doing hallucinogens and stuff like that, I was doing it with the intent of seeing the other side, seeing the spiritual aspect of things. Just because I was really just like, and then looking back at it, like I can recognize multiple times where Yahweh was speaking to me, but just not in like an audible voice. It was more like it's always been like a download or an understanding or
Yeah.
like a gut feeling or something like that. It's never been like a voice or anything. It's always been like an understanding, and then like looking back at it, those understandings have saved my life multiple times,
Yeah.
multiple times. Had I not heeded those moments, uh, like I wouldn't be here, or like even other aspects of just like immediately knowing that some people are like up to no good. Um, like whether it was like a Russian mafia serial killer one time at Power Play, which is like a freaking arcade in Kansas City, or like
Jeez, dude. What
yeah,
game? What game was he playing?
we were walking in, bro. We didn't even get to the games yet.
The fool's just over there on duck hunt. Like, hey.
Time crisis, getting a fix in.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh.
Or like another time we were at a protest. That was one cool thing my parents always brought me on is like when we're like protesting and going to protests was like a common occurrence when I was a kid. Not like the crazy ones you see now with the current ones everybody's thinking of right now. Not those types
Yeah.
of protests. More like liberty and freedom type protests. Um, there was one time this guy he was eating the burrito in the weirdest freaking way. He was like holding it and then eating it backwards. He was like feeding it into himself like this. And it was just weird. But I had the weirdest feeling about that dude. And then like not even like a week later, and like even told my dad immediately. I was like, hey, there's something wrong with that guy. I don't know what it
Yeah.
is, but that dude is off. And then a week later he gets arrested for like well, how do I say this and not get flagged on YouTube? A
Yeah.
serial R worder.
Oh yeah. Ay,
Yeah. Yeah.
man.
Um yeah, dude. Man, I
See,
almost
like
forgot about that.
it's it's just wild. Like, it's one thing to like go through the walk and try to learn for ourselves and shape our own lives, but then we have to contend with all the other people around us doing the wild stuff they're doing. You know,
Bro, ain't that a fact, dude?
like it's
Ain't that a
crazy. Like
fact?
when at a portion when I was like being shown this walk, like I had a series of three different witches that came after me. Like hardcore. And then I had a series of like 3 different like Masons and occultists that tried to recruit me. Like it just
Same
doesn't
thing.
stop. Yeah, pretty much. But
Same
I just
thing.
yeah, I don't know if they were all Masons. One for sure was. But
Yeah.
yeah, like offering me land and money and all kinds of stuff to just like go and learn from them. And it was an easy answer because I was like, well, I just read in scripture today that the Father can destroy both the body and the soul. So I was like, I ain't going down that road, you know?
It's like y'all ain't doing nothing compared to
Yeah.
that.
Um,
Oh man.
yeah, but there's always these antagonists, right? And it wouldn't be a good testing of our faith if there wasn't. But
Dude,
it is,
my
but it's
faith is being
tough.
tested right now. Like, you know, the
Yeah.
situations I'm in right now.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
my, like it's literally like I think I was telling you and my wife just the other day, like, had this situation happened this time last year, different answer. Maybe not
Yeah.
this time last year, but maybe a little over a year ago. Different freaking response.
Yeah.
Um,
Be like boys in the hood.
yeah, man in the hood.
Man. One man in the
yeah. Yeah. Oh man.
Be like, okay, you'd be like, what's his face in The Equalizer?
Yeah, dude, like with far less skill, I'd have been maximum efforting my way through all of this.
Shoot, dude, that's what I feel like I'm doing every day is maximum efforting, just trying to survive this, you know? Oh, man.
Oh man. But yeah, I mean, but praise Yah, he's definitely has changed me for sure. I would say
Yeah.
definitely just changed me. Man, we live in a
Uh,
crazy dude. Okay. Have are people getting crazier? Because like the crazy people occurrences have been happening way more often.
yeah, dude, it's getting worse. Yeah, I don't even know how to
Like
describe it, but
especially since North Carolina.
dude, it's been like bonkers, like on
Yeah,
all fronts since we met.
it's like every time I leave my property and I go like into public, something is freaking happening, dude. Like the laundromat a couple of weeks ago. There's this dude who's like, I don't know if he's on drugs or has some like mental issues or what, but like he's talking about apparently, well, supposedly, I didn't hear any of this myself. I just showed
Yeah,
up like,
yeah,
okay, which,
innocent until proven guilty. Everyone, yeah, don't.
yeah, like, okay. So first of all, like, all right, so I show up to the laundromat. As soon as I get to the laundromat, I get out. I'm like, oh crap, I forgot to pull out money at the ATM. I go to the bank. I come back to the laundromat, and like I bring my clothes into the laundromat and then I go back to the car to put my gun up because I have sweatpants on. It keeps pulling my pants down. I'm like, okay, this is inconvenient. So,
Yeah,
you know, bad choice on my part. I also planned on going to the gym, which is why I had sweatpants on. I was like, bad choice on my part. So I go into the car, put my gun away, and as I'm putting my gun away, a cop with his lights on pulls up like right up to my car, and I'm like, okay, he for sure saw me put that gun away. He didn't see a thing, but he was like, hey, just stand right here for me for a moment, and I'm like, okay. I was like, dude, I just pulled up. Like, yeah, I
yeah,
haven't done anything wrong. I just pulled up. And he's like, all right, come on inside with the laundromat with me. And then he points to a chair. He's like, go ahead and sit here for a minute. You have a black hoodie on. You match the description of a guy that we got called in for. And I'm like, man, what are the freaking odds? Like, what are
yeah,
the freaking odds that it ended up being a different guy on the other end of the laundromat that had the black hoodie? The officer came back up and like apologized and was like, "Hey, my bad. You just so happen to be wearing a black hoodie while we're looking for a guy with a black hoodie on."
yeah,
Um, yeah, but like that whole scenario, um, just like, dude, every single time I go out in the public, something freaking crazy is going on. The people behind us, our backdoor neighbors, they the lady that lives there, like the mom that lives there, got like there's this. Okay, so I found out that there's a creep in town, not far from the house, who was posted up. along that, that side road.
Yeah.
He was like pulled off into the grass a little bit on the side road and recording 2 5-year-olds in the backyard playing in my
What?
backdoor neighbors. Yeah. And there've also been, he's been like, as that group of kids, because all the group of kids, like all the kids and around the same age in the neighborhood, all like that's the house that they meet up and play at. Because they
Oh,
got chickens,
bro.
they got ducks, they've got dogs and stuff like that. That's just where all the kids hang out and play. But on Wednesday nights, they all walk to a local church that's just down the road for Wednesday night Bible study. About as innocent as they get, but as they walk towards the church, this guy is like shooting BB guns at these kids.
What?
So heads up, on Wednesday nights, I'll be walking with these kids to church. I'll be
All
the
right.
chaperone to and from church. But I should be able to still make our Bible study and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like that's been happening, and then he came up, posted up to their backyard, and was recording these little girls playing in their own backyard, being sweet little girls like that. And that little girl's so sweet. Every time I'm in the backyard, she says, "Hey neighbor, hey neighbor."
Hey neighbor. I love
And
it.
she's got some kind of story for me. Like it might be about
That's
her
cool.
chickens or her ducks or a kitten,
Yeah.
and I don't know. She's a sweetheart. But like the mom comes out and like confronts the student, is like, "Hey, why are you shooting BB guns at my kids? Why are you just recording my kids right now?" And stuff like that. And well, he like hits her with his car twice, or his truck twice. Cops get called. Anyway, all I'm saying is that people are getting crazier and crazier.
Bro. So, okay. This is you got my blood boiling. I'm like, man, I felt like the temperature just got so hot in here.
Yeah, I'm burning up too, dude. I'm burning up too. I got a fan on, the AC is on, and I'm still hot.
Yeah, I feel like okay, look. This is Torah to protect those who can't protect themselves. This is good
100%.
instruction of the Father. And if you happen to get some karate practice out of it, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm gonna take my time.
look, I'm just saying, this is wild, man. Like,
Yeah.
everywhere you look, there's just horrible things. Like, I don't even know how to even describe it. All I know is that, like, when our high priest and king returns, like, it's going to be the greatest release from oppression and wicked, evil, intensive men. I just can't wait. I want him to come back so badly. And I get it. We are to count his patience as deliverance. I get it. But man, we need him.
Yeah, absolutely. Amen to that. Because, oh man, yeah. When I found out about that today, dude, like I just found out like,
yeah,
not long ago. Okay, I guess by now, maybe 5 hours ago, I found out. But I mean, you know what I've been up to since then. I don't know why I didn't think about bringing that up to you earlier, but
no, it's all good. I'm just,
yeah.
Hey,
And I've got pigs. Oh man.
Well, there is a limit, but I hear you.
Yeah, I know, but it's tempting.
It's one of those things though. Like with you standing up and doing that, it's you probably won't have any issues at all.
No, because I mean, very clearly, like looking at the group of kids, it's very clearly a group of kids. I'm a foot taller than the next tallest kid there. Yeah. So, yeah, like he's gonna very clearly see, like, oh, there's an adult with them.
There's an adult, and he's got a rifle slung. He's like, what is going on?
Yeah, I intend to look at the open carry laws here in my state.
Yeah, for sure, I would.
And see what the limitations are on that. But like, as armed as I can legally be is where I'll be.
Nunchucks.
You better hope it's not nunchucks, dude. I better hope it's not nunchucks. Yeah, I have not practiced with them. We're both going to be bruised.
I was going to say, you're going to beat your own ass.
Yeah, we're both going to get punished for this one, dude. Which is going to make me more mad.
Yeah. Well, anyways, look, you'll just keep me updated on that. I'll make a drive if you need me.
Yeah, okay. Sounds good. Appreciate it.
But yeah, look, This is why we need the Father's instructions. We need them.
Yeah.
And when
Yeah.
that kingdom comes back, hey, okay, if anybody's listening who disagrees with us, it's all right. You don't have to agree with us. We didn't write the book. You know what I mean?
Nope. Yeah.
the, the Father did. And,
Yeah.
and you take a look at everything that happens during the millennial reign, to have the hubris to think that we are the special time in history that doesn't have any rules at all, and we're still gonna like reap all the reward. You're crazy. You're crazy. Just
The Torah is a blessing. Like the
it
law is a blessing. Like it gives me, instead of trying to decipher this crap myself, it just lays it out all right there. Are there still some things to like figure out and stuff? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But as far as like my day-to-day actions, like I don't have to figure it out. Like I don't have to like have this whole debate whether or not something's moral or not. Like I don't have
Yeah.
to, also there's certain things that you don't have to ask permission about. Like you are required, you are expected to protect those. If you're in a position that you can, you're required and expected to protect those that can't defend themselves. Like you're supposed to do that. Not the limp wristed cucks from mainstream church that I've encountered since I've been going to church.
Look, I agree with you, bro. I agree with you. But hey, this is the thing. Like, what did I say earlier? That like without the Torah, like I'm a total turd.
Yeah.
And there's some people that are without, that are not only without the Torah, but they're actually doing some really wicked stuff. The only way to
Oh
combat
yeah.
the only way to combat evil is with good. Like not only being, a light to those around us, which doesn't mean that we ourselves are anything great, but we're doing the behavior of our Father and our high priest and king. So it's like, we're exposing their nature to the world. But I mean also like in prayer. Like we do need to pray for these people that are doing the wicked stuff. We do. And it's hard to do
Yeah.
sometimes. This is something I still struggle with in some cases, but it's we're commanded to.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Man.
think that's also a good way for our hearts to be softened. There's people, in fact, that I like, I'm tooth and nail. Like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to pray for them, and the
Yeah.
Father keeps prompting me. But once I force myself to do it and I continue to do it, my heart starts to soften more and more.
Yeah.
It's, it's
No,
a
you're
good,
right.
it's a good process.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. And I don't know that like praying for your enemies is as much for your enemies as it is for like yourself. Um
Well,
and
it,
changing your heart posture and like avoiding uh I mean punishment for like it, cuz they are still human. I mean, I don't know. It's not like they're straight up Nephilim or anything.
right, right. And if they don't repent, these prayers heap coals of fire on their head, you know?
There's that
So
too.
either way, it'll work out.
Yep.
And I'm not saying we're hoping for that, everybody. Don't be like, ooh, these guys are mean. No, I'm just saying, like, I'm just saying,
Ooh.
ooh, they said a bad thing, you know. um,
Snitching.
yeah. Anyways, snitches don't get stitches around here. We'll pray for you, but um, hey,
Oh man.
okay, I got something to bring up. When coming into
Yeah.
this walk, what do you think about these books that have been removed by councils of men?
See, okay, that's something that wasn't as difficult for me to accept as like my wife, for example. And not saying that she hasn't accepted it or anything
Right,
like
right.
that. It's just it's less like, of course. Like, of course, men removed some of the books.
Yeah,
Like, it
yeah.
just checks out. Like,
It makes perfect sense.
it makes perfect sense. And also, not saying all the books are good.
Yeah,
Like, I still have not really I would say the only one that I've really checked out was like maybe, and by really checked out, like I heard it on audiobook was I think was it maybe Enoch
Yeah.
or was it the Book of Giants? It was one of the two, and I was like, oh, that's where Greek and Roman mythology came from. This all
Hmm.
makes sense because like growing up, I always questioned like, how did they just make this stuff up and then get everybody to like agree to this and start worshiping these fake Elohim? Um,
That's a good point.
like that was one thing I always grew up because I was always kind of fascinated with like Greek and Roman mythology. I don't know why. It was more like the monsters of like Greek and Roman mythology that fascinated me more. Um, but I always wondered like how did they just come up with this? Like this makes no sense. Like where's surely they had like some sort of like reason to believe this stuff. And then I like was hearing that book on the way back from Dallas one time and I was like, "Oh, that's where all this came from. That makes total sense. That makes total sense."
Yeah. So, Book of
But
the Giants. Oh,
as far as the other books, real quick, like I still have not really like dived deep into any of them just yet because I don't feel like I have a firm foundation in the official canon so far, or that's at least how I feel right now. Like I need
sure.
to like build up my base before, so that way I can decipher whether or not some of these other ones are good to go. Like put them through an actual true prophets test and whatnot.
Yeah. I definitely can appreciate that, and I agree with you. Like, I whenever I got into reading another book, that would come up on the list. Like, I need to check this out and test it. It's it's something to be done very carefully, but you know what? The wonderful thing is like the Ruach just it alerts you to anything that's outside of Yah's ways. Like, especially you get a lot of these books that are actually later works that are very Gnostic. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but there are some other ones that really shine a lot of understanding and also add a complementary effect to the Torah and the prophets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that
Yeah.
without those, um, I would say, my understanding wouldn't be where it's at. Uh, Even our Messiah quoted out of 4 Ezra, um, or Second Esdras. Um, yeah, a few other places. Enoch, Jude, in the book of Jude, straight up says, "Hey, Enoch's a prophet." This is what he said in chapter 2. You know, like
Yeah.
it's so
Yeah.
straightforward. Um, but the thing is with all these books, like the I don't know, I guess the congruent message in all of them is to fear Yahweh and keep His commandments. Like the
Right.
Torah is our form of discipleship. Like that's how we disciple after our Messiah. You emulate the behavior of the one you disciple after, and I think that's why so many people they misread the books of Paul and then they disciple after him, whereas we should be literally doing and acting and walking just like our Messiah said, did, walked, act. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, And okay, here's something that like popped me right in the mouth reading scripture when I first started really getting into this. 2 Peter chapter 3. Um, I guess I'll pull this back up real quick. Bam. Okay. Starting at verse 14, it says, "So then, beloved ones, looking forward to this, do your utmost to be found by him in peace, spotless and blameless, and reckon the patience of our Master as deliverance, as also our beloved brother Shaul or Paul wrote to you, according to the wisdom given to him, as also in all his letters, speaking in them concerning these matters, in which some are hard to understand, which those who are untaught and unstable twist to their own destruction, as they do also the other scriptures. So then, beloved ones, being forewarned, watch, lest you also fall from your own steadfastness, being led away by the delusion of the lawless." It, Peter is the chief apostle. And you can see this like going on. through the book of Acts. I mean, we did a video on Paul where we went over Acts 21, I think.
Yeah.
And then we jumped into the council in Jerusalem. But this is Peter, like, hey, everybody, we know Paul's all right, but he writes in a way that is just like, man, you could really get lost in there. So make sure you have a good, stable foundation, right? So you're not
Mhm.
untaught and you're not unstable when you read his writing. Um, that
Yeah.
that one just like slapped me in the face with it, and I was like, okay, I am going to stop reading Paul altogether until I have a firm foundation in the Torah and the prophets. And
And I
the
don't think
most
that's a bad way to go.
no, it was
Like,
perfect for me because you know what that did throughout the Torah and the prophets. I saw the Messiah being prophesied all over the place. I started
yeah.
to see the way he would behave, the way he would, you know, everything. It's just beautiful. But anyway, sorry. Yeah.
No, don't apologize. That's a very good point to bring up. Is like even Peter is giving you a heads up saying, "Hey, like if you're not stable in the Torah and the prophets, then Paul could potentially his writings could potentially lead you towards um the lawless." And in the apostolic polyglot, verse 17 out of chapter 3 says, "You then, beloved, foreknowing guard that not by the oh my goodness,
Yeah, delusion of the unlawful ones.
yeah, of the delusion of the unlawful ones having been led away, you should fall from your own steadfastness." Apostolic polyglot takes a couple of shots for me to to read
Bro,
that as like a full sentence.
I always look at it too. I'm like, okay, now you want me to count in the middle of, in the middle of the verse and line it up?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. But man, yeah, it's handy. But like again, we use the eSword app. That's where we're getting all these different translations and stuff like that quickly and readily. Um, like the Septuagint, like the scriptures, like the apostolic polyglot, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
man,
Oh, another quick note on the removed books, right? So in the first
yeah,
century, if you have these rabbis, I forget the guy's name. I think it was like Rabbi Akiva or something like that.
yeah,
Saying like, yo, if you read Enoch and Jubilees, you can't come in the synagogues and you're not going to take part in the resurrection. Um, well, no wonder, because, you know, it definitely prophesies the Messiah, but it also points out the calendar, the true calendar, not like the
mm,
usurping one that they were on and all these other things. Like, I'm not going to listen to that turd. You know what I mean?
right,
Like, he's part of the bad guys. Like, does
yeah.
everybody forget that there was a group of bad guys that like delivered up our master? I mean, I know this wasn't like a cowboys and Indians movie, but they're bad guys, you know?
Yeah, they said, "Let his blood be on us and our generations."
Ay, ay, ay.
Those guys.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
then what
they.
are all the Christians doing today? They're worshiping the bad guys, man. It's crazy.
Yep. Yeah, it really is crazy. Like it's a freaking movie.
Bro, this is a movie that I would not pay for.
No,
Like, but at the
no.
same time, well, okay. In the future, I would definitely pay for it. So like when the witnesses go out and tell everybody what's up, and
Yeah,
yeah, I mean,
yeah.
dude,
You know I ain't paying to see no movies.
yeah, I know that. I know that all my movie references just go right in the toilet every time I
Hey,
say them.
dude, I've seen The Sandlot.
Which I'm happy about. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. That I mean,
Trying to think of another
that's
movie I've
good.
seen that would make you happy.
I don't
I
know,
don't know,
dude.
man, dude. I missed out a lot on a lot of them.
But I feel
I don't
like
have
that's
the
a
attention span. I can't just sit there and watch a movie, dude. I start getting antsy. I start like that's
yeah.
another reason I can't watch sports. It's like, man, why are we watching other people play a game?
Yeah, I want to go play the game.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, hold on. Hey, Hey, world, listen to this real quick. Okay, me and no one, we had a deal. We had a deal going on about not
Oh.
eating ice cream. Okay? we were, we were doing this together as a team. I've been suffering. No tasty treats for me. No ice cream. Hey, buddy,
Oh
what
man,
what'd you do last night? You
I ate a
had
whole
some
pint.
oh,
I
a
ate a
whole
whole pint.
pint too. Oh,
And dude, I wasn't even trying to keep it from you. I just didn't think to tell you. It's crazy that you just knew I ate ice cream too,
I
which is
swear,
why
because
you
last
smelled
night
it.
I was walking down the hallway and I'm like, I bet he's eating ice cream tonight. I was like, I'm gonna hit him up, but I knew you were having I knew that you and your wife were hanging out, so I didn't want to bug you. I was like, because I wanted to
Oh
know, because I
man,
was gonna eat a whole bowl of it myself if you were,
you
but
should. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, not now. Now it feels cheap.
What?
I don't want to do that.
Oh man. Well, anyway, I'm about to do like the full blown like like elimination diet and eating one thing every day, and that's gonna be ground beef. I'm getting back on carnivore. I got
Dude,
to lose this weight that I put on since North Carolina. I'm getting fluffy, dude. I can't see my abs. I can barely feel them.
you don't need those. Hey, I'll do
I
the.
like them. Even my wife said I'm getting thick, and she didn't tell me. She's not honest about any of that stuff.
What did she say to you? It cut out. What was it?
She said I'm getting thick.
Man, she's complimenting your muscles, dude.
That ain't it, bro. See, context is an important thing.
Yeah,
And
that's
we
a
were
good
not
point.
talking about lifting. No.
Yeah.
No. But
Well,
actually I want to keep track of like how quickly I could lose the weight that I put on in since North Carolina. So like how quickly can I put on five can I take off like 5 months of just going hard on ice cream?
I know that's the problem. We've hung out so much and eaten so much ice cream. Every
And cheese
trip.
curds.
And cheese curds.
Yeah.
Just other good fried foods.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man.
I think I'm gonna just do ground beef because that's like it's easy, it's cheap. Like
Yeah.
I think I'm just gonna, and like it's also easy to adjust the flavor of it and stuff. Like
Oh,
you
for
can do
sure.
different styles. Like you can do like Korean style ground beef or like
Ooh.
taco meat or just whatever. Really, that barbecue sauce you turned me on to, dude, is the shiznit, bro. I found the one that's like super hot, or they say it's like what do they call it? They call it like hella hot or something.
Do they now? I don't
Yeah,
know
it's
about that
good.
one. Okay. Nice, dude.
Yeah, and then they have another garlic one. That one's good too.
I'm a sucker for garlic. In
Yeah.
fact, when I do my ground beef, because I often cook up just a few pounds at a time, and seriously, like fresh minced garlic,
Uh-huh.
bunch of like sauteed up onions in there, and then here's the
Yep.
trick. Here's the trick. You put a little
Okay.
bit of chicken bouillon in with it,
Okay. All right.
bro. Life changing.
Okay. I'm down. I'll definitely try that. I'll
Yeah,
definitely do that. That
I
sounds good.
even I'll have that even, and man, put that on a little unleavened bread. It's it's pretty bomb.
Yeah, I got to cut that part out too,
Yeah,
because I can
well,
go hard on some unleavened bread,
yeah, yeah. Oh, especially
especially like the thicker cakes.
like
I had my wife make
fresh.
some like the thicker ones.
Yeah.
Dude, those are so freaking good.
Oh man, I'm getting so hungry right now.
All right. Well, on that note, you got anything to add to this podcast?
Yeah. What the only thing I want to say is like, hey, anybody who's listening, please feel free to reach out to us. Even if you
Yeah.
don't want to share certain parts of your testimony, or if you just want to come on and talk about Torah, talk about this walk, if you want to come on and have a discussion about it, if you disagree with us, as long as we do it with kindness and showing some good fruits, hit us
Yeah.
up. Exiled
Or
strangers
if you have
at
any questions,
proton.me.
dot or also if you have any questions, like hit us up if you have any questions. If you're like in this weird transition period, not the transition most people think of. But if you're in this, you know, the in between part and stuff like that, and you have questions, then I mean, feel free to reach out. Feel free to reach
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. And,
Would be more than happy to help with any of that.
yeah.
So, yep,
Totally.
that email is exiledstrangers@proton.me. Exiledstrangers@proton.me. Thank you guys so much for listening, and until next time, we'll see you.